Hello, my name is Rita Rosenbach. I am the author of the book Bringing Up a Bilingual Child, and I'm also the driving force behind the website multilingualparenting.com, as well as the Multilingual Parenting Facebook page and group. If you're not a member of the Facebook group yet, please do apply and remember to answer those 3 joining questions when you do, so we can accept your application as soon as possible. I'm also a family language coach, so I help families in whatever issues or challenges they have when they're raising children to speak more than one language. Typical situations are when there are 3, 4, or 5 or more languages in a child's environment, and the parents need help in juggling those, or when a parent decides to use to bring up a child, a multilingual child in a monolingual family. Using a non-native language is one of the topics that I do coaching on. So if you do have questions, please do get in touch through the Facebook page or through just sending me an email at rita@multilingualparenting.com. So today I have only one question which I will speak about at the end if there is time. I have limited time today. I will shortly also speak about receptive bilingualism, which in some places you'll find is called passive bilingualism, when you only understand but you can't speak a language. I prefer the term receptive bilingualism. But I will come to that at the end of today's session. So today's question, today's question comes from Terry, who lives in Cyprus, a lovely corner of the world to live in, with his wife. And he is a native English speaker, and she is a native Greek speaker. They have 2 children, a 5-year-old daughter who is already bilingual in Greek and English. Very congratulations, well done. And now they also have a 3-year son. And the question is about the son's Greek development. So Terry mentions that both his daughter and his son have taken longer to speak compared to monolingual children. And then Terry, please let me know if you're online, so if I can ask you something. If he mentions that it is, or in his word, it's entirely normal and to be expected that bilingual children take longer to speak. Actually, research has shown that there is no difference in how long bilingual children take before they start talking in compared to a monolingual child. I think we notice it more and kind of pick up on it if a child has more than one language in their repertoire. Then we think, right, that's why they speak later. If a monolingual child speaks a little bit later, then it's just a late speaker. So that may be more perception, and that's actually what research has shown, that there is no real notable difference in the time when children who speak more languages start speaking than monolingual children. Case in point, my own children, my elder daughter, she was 2 when she started to speak in sentences and even translated from one language to another. And so she had 2 languages, and my younger daughter took until she was 3.5 before she started using longer sentences. Both now are able to speak 3 or 4 languages fluently. So and they do it quite well. So it's not a given that because you speak more than one language, or a child speaks more than one language, that they will speak later. It's also, on the other hand, it's also because there is still this perception. There are some parents that wait really long before they take a child to a language assessment if there are more than one language in the family, because they think it's due to this. So you should use the same criteria as with the monolingual children when to take a child for an assessment. The important thing is always to keep track of how well a child understands and follows commands, and what the progress is. So keep an eye on the progress. Also, one thing to remember is if a child has got any issues with his or her language, they have them in all languages, not only in one. So back to Terry's question. So they've noticed that so his son is 3 years old and has been going to a Greek nursery for half a year, and then recently noticed that his English vocabulary has been notably increasing. So not as expected that he would be speaking more Greek. His favoured language is English at the moment, because parents speak English between them. So there, I presume, Terry, if you're online, please let me know if this is true. I presume there is more English than Greek in the home. So it's quite natural that that child then would prefer the language which is spoken more at home. The question is about that the staff from the nursery have been in contact with Terry and his wife, and have mentioned that their son may have concentration issues in teacher-led group activities, and that he doesn't interact, I'm reading Terry's words here, doesn't interact with other children at the nursery, in that he doesn't seem to initiate play or socializing with other children. Terry goes on to tell that at home he loves playing with his animals and playing with toy animals and building blocks, and can do this for up to 30 minutes. I think that's amazing. That shows a great amount of ability to concentrate. So I don't think to me, I would question the comment that he's got concentration issues. And also, since he actively plays with his sister and her friends, so he's good at socializing as well. So Terry thinks that these so-called problems may be partly due to his personality, but also due to language barriers, since Greek is currently his weaker language. All the other children are monolingual Greek speakers in the group. So I don't know if you have been in touch with the nursery. What I would do, I would definitely contact them and ask them a bit more details and exact examples of what they have observed and why they have raised the concern. Also, I would discuss with them whether they are used to dealing with bilingual children, and if they have had bilingual children before. And I don't know if it's possible, if you could kind of attend one day, maybe so that your son doesn't really notice it. I don't know if this is possible, but it would be good for you to see what the teachers are referring to. So now you have the option of moving him to a bilingual nursery, which would be English and Greek, I presume. And Terry is hesitant about this. His wife would like to transfer the son, because Terry thinks he would get insufficient exposure to Greek. their son will go to a Greek-speaking school after nursery, so in 1 or 2 years' time. When choosing a nursery or school, I always say, don't make the language the first criteria. First thing you need to choose is a good nursery that suits your child, who's got the kind of atmosphere and attitude that you like, and where you know that your children are well cared for. So once you're confident this is the case, then then you can make the languages the criteria after that. I presume this is the bilingual nursery is equally good one as the Greek one, and to me I can see some positives in going to a bilingual nursery for him. It would make him more confident, because at least some of the time he would be able to use the language that he's more confident, your son is more confident in, and he could also, and more importantly, he would be among other children who also speak both languages, speak Greek and English, so that he can see that he's not different. And it's a normal thing. Of course, his sister does it, but it's one thing when children see something happening within the family. It's important that they see that there are also other families, other children that are just like them. So therefore, I think it could be a good idea to put him in the bilingual nursery. Actually. It would also strengthen his foundation for English. I know, Terry, that you're concerned about, and that we are discussing the Greek at the moment, but he is only 3 years old, your son, and as I understand it, you will continue living in Cyprus, and Greek will be the main language, the majority language. It will be the school language. Very soon after he starts school, Greek will become his dominant language, just as it has become your daughter's dominant language. She's just 5 years old. So this will happen to your son as well. And so you will have, there will be more struggle in making sure that they keep up their English going forward when they spend more and more time at school, have more friends, more activities, maybe watch more media, and everything is in Greek. So English will be the language that will be needing support in the future. So I am all for the bilingual nursery at this point, and he will still get Greek exposure, and by the sound of it, it might be a better environment for him, and maybe you have more understanding staff there. But first of all, speak to the staff at your current nursery. Try to understand what they're really worried about. Is do they feel uncomfortable just because he doesn't speak at the same level as the monolinguals are? So is it just that what's their concern, or do they really think that it impacts his attendance or anything else? Speak to them to find out what they think, and if you feel that you're not getting the support that your son needs from there, then I would consider the bilingual option. So that was Terry's question. Hope if you have any further questions, I can see that you're probably not online. Then just type them below here in the video, and I'll pick them up from there. So that was the main question. I have a little bit time still today, so I will speak about receptive bilingualism. I've had a few teenagers contact me who said that they have been fluent in a language when they were small, before going to school, but then they've lost the ability to speak, that they still understand, but they can no longer express themselves, except maybe a few sentences or just a few words, but they can't lead a conversation in the language anymore, something that they were able to do before, prior to going to school. This is something that is quite often, it's a fairly, I'm afraid, typical development for a small bilingual child if there's not enough attention paid to supporting the child's minority language when they go to school, because that is the crucial point in maintaining the minority language. Because when the child gets immersed in a majority language all day long, what they naturally do is that they come home and they continue speaking the majority language. If at that point, this happens normally often in one parent, one language families, where there is only one parent speaking the minority language. If the minority language parent also switches to using the majority language at that point, that's when it can easily happen that the majority language slowly takes over. Because what also happens is that when a child goes to school, there are new topics, there are new vocabulary phrases and things that the parent might not have been discussing that much at home, and all these words come in the majority language, and the child might not even know the words that they would need to use in the minority language. Therefore, I always recommend to speak a lot about the school, speak about the subject, speak about the teacher, speak about the rooms, the lockers, the assemblies, and use the minority language vocabulary, so the child knows how to speak about their day when they come home. And don't do the mistake I did with my younger daughter, where I insisted that she would still speak in Swedish when she was excited and coming home from speaking English all day at school and wanted to tell me something. And then I asked her to say it in Swedish. So yes, I apologize. I shouldn't have done that. I learned my lesson. Let the children speak in the language they want to express themselves. Maybe then when they go to sleep or later during the evening, you can pick up the topic again and speak about it in the minority language. That's the way to kind of keep the minority language going and stay consistent in responding in the minority language, even if the child speaks the majority language. Back to these teenagers that have contacted me asking what to do, how can they rekindle their language that they had when they were small. The good thing is that it's all still there. It's all still there. It hasn't disappeared from the brain. The language is still there. It's just buried under the majority language, and it needs some help to kind of come up to the surface again. Both these teenagers who contacted me say that they can't attend classes, so that's not an option. Well, there are, depending on the language, there are quite a few free apps available that you can use to kind of come back into it. But if you have family still that speak the language, go ahead and use those few words that you know. Don't be afraid about making mistakes. Find out who is the best, who's the most patient and best person to speak. Just speak, use the language with. Somebody who can help you and who can support you and give you the phrase when you need, and who you feel comfortable with, so you won't be afraid of making mistakes, because that is the thing. I always say that if you want to learn to understand, then you listen to things. If you want to learn to read, then you start with a book and read. If you want to learn to speak, you need to speak. you don't learn to speak just by listening or watching TV. You need to actively use the language and start with whatever little you have and take it from there. And when you get a bit more used to it, expand the topics. Choose topics that you really love to discuss with someone. So the topic carries you, so it kind of pulls you and makes you want to say something, because if you have the motivation and motivation to do something, then you find a way. And most of all, I mean, both these teenagers who contacted me, they expressed a passion about it. They want to learn it again, and that is the number one thing. If that's there, then other challenges can be tackled, and keep it fun. Find there are also nowadays you can find language partners online, so you can choose the language you want to learn, and then somebody else who wants to learn your language, then you swap which so you speak one language for a certain amount of time, and then you swap to the other language, so you have a language. But look for phrases like language buddy online, and then you will find different companies. Make sure you go for a reputable one, and that's all the normal precautions, of course. So that was about receptive bilingualism. Yes, I mentioned I don't like, or I have been taught that passive bilingualism is not a good phrase, because understanding something is in no way a passive action. There's a lot going on in the brain when even if you are just listening and understanding and not speaking. So therefore, I would ask everybody not to use the word passive, use receptive. So you take it in, but you can't express yourself. So it's receptive bilingualism. So that was I wanted to speak about receptive bilingualism today. Hi Tatiana, you've got a question. How I see true bilingual daycare or kindergarten is organizing its curriculum. Half day one language, half other, or one teacher one language and one teacher language two. And you say, Tatiana, you say that lots of places call themselves bilingual, but they really just have one activity a week in a different language. Yes, that's in my mind, that is not bilingual. That is a monolingual daycare with some activities in a different language. So that would for me, that would be false marketing, calling that a bilingual nursery. I find it best that there would be native speakers of each language, and they stick to their language all the time. If this is not possible, then I would do the half day one language, half the other. But I find that it's much more natural when there are native language speakers of each language, and so you have half stuff. So the children learn the natural way to be bilingual, where you switch language depending on who you're speaking with, and the children would then also identify one language with one person, so they always know that when this person speaks, it's language A, when that person speaks, it's language B. So thank you, Tatiana, for that question. I actually have to finish today's session. Thank you very much for attending. And the next session will be not in 2 weeks, but in 4 weeks. In 2 weeks, I will be back in Finland, enjoying time with my family. So, but in 4 weeks, I will still be there, but then I will have some more time. So the next session will be, and let me just double check that, so I've got the right day. So we'll be on the 19th. Yes, 19th of July will be the next session. Tatiana, and that's good to start at any age. Yes, I would start like that from the start. One person, one language. Okay, thank you very much, and thank you so much for attending, and have a good day. Today it's the summer solstice here in the UK, so the longest day. I wish you all a lovely day. Thank you. Bye.